Hey Spuddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here, and welcome back to Stellaris, where we're playing as the children of Blurgle, and we are on the third stage of the quest for the Toxic God. We are gearing up for a war with the Krithakan Confederation, and it would be kind of nice if we could get the Mandasura Empire on board for that war. Now, one thing that we are going to run into is that their fleet power is superior to us, so it's going to be hard for us to declare rivalry. I would like to get a second fleet before I did declare a rivalry, which means we need to get a lot more alloys. We are making really decent alloys in our capital because we are building city districts. We also built some foundries and some industrial districts, which is outputting a lot of minerals and stuff for us. Alloys for us. The stellar culture shock is about to be disappearing from our new slave world that we managed to just capture. I didn't expect myself to be coming into this game as a slaver, but that's needs must. Sometimes you find a idyllic world that is untouched by the hand of man, and then you land on that planet and you enslave everyone on it. Listen, that is just what happens sometimes. I didn't make that decision. That was what was required of me. Okay, maybe I am a slaving bastard. Okay, fair. I will take that into consideration when I'm deciding the fate of your people. Speak carefully. But this is kind of what is fun about Stellaris, is that you really get to make decisions that have mechanical complexity that also have moral weight in a way. Now, the game doesn't really care about your morality that much, but that's for you to care about. You get to care about your morality. And so that's why I really like it. It's one of the things I really, really like about the game. Oh, slaves are rallying on Iriamis 2, which is not good. So the slaves are radicalizing, which means the stability is coming down. We're going to have to declare martial law again. That's okay. That'll bring stability back up. We have found a toxic planet. We're getting a lot of events. We're not going to worry about all of that stuff, though. What I really need to do is to get this planet to be stable again. So what is causing instability? With the slaves radicalizing on this planet, I'm going to go ahead and create some armies to land on it, to act as essentially a sort of a garrison. So let's go. I don't know if this will help in case the planet revolts, but I'm going to get like another 6 armies and put them on there with a general in the hopes that makes a difference. Now the Mandasura Empire is looking to establish an embassy. That's perfect. So I should tell you what my goals are. My main goal is here to get to the planet of Sulan. This will act as another choke point, a fortress choke point between me and the Zenek multi-system. Then my next goal is to expand down this line to get to one of these 3 choke points. Ideally I would get the Yultup, but they're going to get there first because they're expanding to the left, and I've cut them off from this right side. And yeah, I'd like to expand along there. I'd like to get at least 1 planet here, and then my expansion goals will be to the north, up through here. But mostly I'm going to be gearing up for a war with the Krithakan Confederation, hopefully bringing the Mandasura Empire in with me into that war. I think this planet needs more stability, and I do believe building a slave processing facility will lower the political power of the slaves on this planet, thus making them much easier to control. I'm also having a little bit of an energy crisis right now because this planet was my main source of energy, and it still will be, but I'm going to have to do a little bit of retooling of this planet, and that'll take quite a few days. But until then, I'm going to have to sell resources to keep this topped up. I'm in a bit of an energy deficit, but I do have a surplus in other areas that'll allow me to cover that. And also, don't forget that my expansion through here, for example, is always leading to more and more economy for me. So because I'm not working clerk jobs, this planet has unemployed people, and I really don't like the clerk job. I would much rather work. Are there slaves on this planet is a question. I don't think so. No, we don't have any slaves on this planet, so we don't need slave processing facilities. Instead, what I'm going to do in order to increase the number of jobs is I'm going to get a food processing facility, which will increase the food efficiency of this place. And I think, actually, do I want to go for minerals on this planet? No, I think I go for food here. You see, what other planets do I have? I do have a food planet here, so maybe I'll transition to this being a mineral planet. Regardless of which way I go there, the most important thing for me to get right now is holo theaters. This will provide me with 20 extra amenities, and I am going to go ahead and unlock a single clerk job just for now to keep people from being unemployed, and that'll lower the amenity problem. This is just, my people are a little bit unhappy. I need to sort that out. There's ground defense planning. This will give us extra naval capacity from soldier jobs, allowing us to field more fleets, and defense army damage is also really handy because it'll make our planets harder to invade. The stellar culture shock has disappeared from this planet. However, we still do have these slaves radicalizing. So I am going to have to leave martial law in place here for quite a while until we can get that under control. We need these slaves to be, well, under control, essentially. 15% reduced crime and 5% extra amenities could be really handy here. That'll be a nice empire-wide boost. I'm going to go ahead and grab that. I do need to start thinking about my technology. While my tech isn't terrible in comparison to some of these guys, I am a little bit behind, and I need to start building a second fleet. So let's go ahead and recruit a new fleet. Unfortunately, we still only have corvettes and only a single shipyard, so we can only build 2 ships at a time. And it looks like we've had the birth of space piracy over here because I didn't have enough trade route protection. That's okay. We should be able to defeat these guys relatively easily. I forgot to have these guys on patrol. A little bit of a mistake there. I need to wait until this station is level 2 before I can fully protect my trade routes. You can see here, if I go to the trade route screen, you can see there is a lot of piracy here. And because of the piracy, pirates have spawned on the unprotected trade route. So we're going to have to go and defeat that. I think it would be a good idea to build at least one stronghold in my capital. I think every planet should contribute to your fleet power at least a little bit. And if you fail to do that, you'll be in trouble. And that's one of the best ways to increase your fleet power. And I tend to ignore my fleet power early into the game, and that's honestly been a mistake almost every time I do it. So I'm trying to avoid ignoring my fleet power for too long, especially when we've got an empire on our border that's potentially aggressive. We did manage to take out the pirate fleet. No, sorry, the pirate fleet took out my outpost, so they're destroying a few mining stations. We'll have to rebuild those. That's what pirates do. They're jerks. And I think I'm going to go ahead and unlock how to build habitats. These will be ways for me to essentially build planets in key strategic locations that can act as fortresses. I can make fortress habitats. I could also make mining habitats, like for example around one of these planets right here. I could build a mining habitat and extract this mineral income here, which would mean that I would have less need for minerals to be produced elsewhere in my empire, which could be really handy. It's kind of an interesting thing because you're always trying to balance not only your global economy, but also the local economy of your individual cities. Oh shoot, here it is. They have declared the subjugation... No. They now have the ability to declare a subjugation war against me, so I have to be careful because they think they're strong enough to come to war with me. Now, I do have some spy network on them, so we could maybe consider doing a little bit of espionage. We could gather some information. This will increase our maximum infiltration level. We could spark diplomatic incidents. We could acquire sleeper cells, or we could acquire an asset, which would allow us to use further. I'm going to go ahead and try to acquire an asset, so I'll go ahead and launch that mission. It'll take some time, and it'll be a difficult one. But if we could pull it off, that would be good to acquire a new asset. Let's recruit ourselves a second admiral to lead the next fleet. And I think I like this combat disengagement chance. This allows me to preserve my fleet in any fights that aren't going my way. It's a good way to preserve resources. I also need to have a little bit of a look here and see. Ah, lovely. We acquired a new asset against the enemies here. Oh, who are these? The Pulgavian, the Polvanite Corporation. I don't remember meeting these guys. They are peaceful traders. It would be nice to get a commercial pact with them, but our relationship is too low. It looks like these might be primitives that are actually growing up. They're becoming real civilizations. Now we have a veteran asset, which is giving us maximum infiltration level and also bonus to our manipulation and military operations. Let's have a look here. So the Mandasura Empire is looking for a research agreement. Yeah, we could learn a lot from them. They have like 10 techs in each category, so they're quite a bit ahead of us in technology. And they would also like to do a trade pact, which will get us a little bit of energy, but it'll get them quite a bit more. I think building a relationship with the Mandasura Empire, even though this will cost us a little bit of influence for maintaining those deals, I think that's worthwhile. Now, they also want to get a defensive pact. I'm going to go ahead and take that too, even though this will further hurt our influence generation. This defensive pact will put us... How did he get through their borders? Oh, they're expanding this way. Oh no. They've managed to snipe me off. They managed to expand through here. They expanded through the Kelbid Continuum. These ancient custodians, they snuck through. Damn it. Well, that puts me in a little bit of a difficult situation, actually. Yeesh. I don't like that. I wasn't expecting them to expand this way. I'm going to have to just live with it, though. There's nothing I can do. I'll have to expand into the Krithakan Confederation instead. We're going to go ahead and grab Never Surrender. This will increase the amount of orbital bombardment that we can sustain, make it harder to claim against us, and also lower our war exhaustion gain. So we're going to be able to fight wars longer, and oftentimes... you don't ever win wars decisively. You just hold out until they have to surrender. Most of the time, is in my experience in Stellaris. Let's start using our alloys to upgrade our star holds and our trade hubs and our star bases. We need to get those up and running to be ready to defend ourselves. We're really low on alloys and minerals and stuff like that, so we need to increase our alloy income. The Mandasura Empire wants a migration treaty. This could be handy for us. There's no reason for us not to be as friendly as possible with those guys. But I do need to get my unity up. That's going to be a little bit of a problem because I need to finish this, and I also need to get diplomatic ideas to reduce the influence cost. This relationship is costing me a lot of influence, which is a bit of a problem for me. Let's take self-evolving logic so that we get +1 research alternatives. Now we'll be drawing 5 technologies from the deck of technology cards, essentially, which should allow us to have a really, really high chance to do what we need to do. So it might be a good idea here for me to make some claims on these frontal worlds before we're actually at war, because claims become more expensive when you're at war. So I might get these handled right now, and then taking these 3 systems will be the main objective for any war that we go into. And by having these claims, it makes it easier for me to actually do the pushback. So I think my main objective right now is to get as many minerals as many alloys as possible. So I'm going to start buying 13 alloys per month, which is the maximum amount you can buy before you start consistently increasing the price. And then we'll just take stock of our economy and the standings that it's in before we start switching over what we're selling and buying and stuff like that. Oh, I'm selling, I should be buying. A little bit of a misclick there. Very annoying. There was some really good quality land up here to the north. I didn't realize that they would be able to make it through this fallen empire. I would have prioritized settling up here if I had known that they would have been able to snatch this from me. But we are a little bit boxed in, which means we need to transition to a military designation and start looking to invade the Krithakan. But it also looks like they've been having a little bit of a problem with the young races. The primitive species are starting to spawn and they're exerting control over these systems, which means they're going to have to try and deal with that. Now, I don't have any primitives inside my empire right now, so that's not going to be a problem with me. We could colonize this planet using some of the species that we've managed to gain through migration, but I don't think that's what we want to do. I think we would rather terraform these planets into our ideal species because, let's be frank here, anything but blurglings are probably going to be put into indentured servitude. We are definitely followers of the toxic god, and that gives us a little bit of a sense of superiority. Ooh, the visitor. So this might be the next step of the quest for the toxic god. The shroud can reveal many secrets to thee if thou art willing to pay the price. In the year 2241, so the chronicles state, a holy visitor came to no malice intended. A figure shrouded in mystery of a species hitherto unknown to us, he called himself simply Hod, and offered us a bargain. In return for a price yet to be named, he would send us a night into the shroud. From an entity within, the knight would at last glean the knowledge that we sought. What could possibly be the harm in doing this? Aha, we have found the shroud. To delve into the mysteries of the shroud, the Grand Master nominated Knight Half-Hearted Yet Confused. With the Holy Visitor's guidance, she entered the unknown. This is the people's name, by the way. My people have strange names. If you see here, this guy is called Unstudious Ballard Skater. So my people are just have odd names because we're toxic people. Visions previously unimaginable flitted across her consciousness before an entity appeared. The Susurrus of Secrets. The Susurrus of Secrets, the visitor whispered. This being took a form half-hearted yet confused, could only later describe as beauty beyond compare. Give us the scent of the first day of summer, the satisfaction of a challenge overcome, and the warmth of a lover's embrace, it spake. And then I shall reveal to you what thou wish. The scent of it, the price is too steep. Oh, of course, enchanting Susurrus. Half-hearted yet confused felt new memories entering her mind. Suddenly they, and indeed all blurglings, could perfectly recall the very moment the toxic god unleashed its gift upon Tufson, even though it lay centuries in the past. As one, the entire population of the children of Blurgle felt a profound yet intangible sense of loss sweep over them. Formerly pleasant sensations were dulled. Apathy spread like wildfire, and afterwards it was head to dredge up motivation for even the simplest of tasks. Despite this, the Order thanked Hod and praised Half-Hearted Yet Confused for successfully bringing back new memories from the Shroud. So let's see here. We have the option to do we can get extra Knights jobs from the Order's keep here, and I will get low motivation, reducing my pop growth, reducing my resource output, and reducing my happiness. Or I can spend 1,000 to get extra unity on my capital. Now I kind of wish I'd gone that route. Now I wish I didn't go for the most envenomous. This would give me 5% happiness across my empire. 5% happiness is a large bonus across an entire empire. So I'm going to go ahead and take that. It might not seem like much, but happiness is truly, truly, truly powerful. One thing I should consider is getting an Othicon monument on my capital. This would give me 2 culture workers. And it would also lower the amenity usage on this planet and increase my governing ethics attraction. What would I replace is the real question. I guess I'm not really making use of the stronghold, so I'm going to replace that with an Othicon monument, just purely for the extra unity. Because my unity has dipped now very, very low, because we've de-emphasized unity as a resource in this phase of the game. And so I think now that I've gotten a good bit of technology and I've gotten a big military and I've gotten a lot of alloys, I need to start reprioritizing that. So you can see here, I've built a fortress station here and it has 6,400 combat power. If you compare that to my little fleets of corvettes, they have 1,000 power. Now, this power is a little bit overblown. It's not actually that good at defending because it'll get weaker as it gets damaged, but it's going to be still a really good roadblock for anyone trying to invade me from the left. We've acquired a new asset from the Krithakan Confederation, a clerk, and this will lower our infiltration level, but it will net us a higher infiltration potential. Now we can get up to 50 infiltration, which is really, really handy. And I think different missions and different bonuses are activated based on your infiltration level. Let us begin. I would like to start terraforming this world potentially to an ocean world. I'm pretty sure that's our capital type. So I'm going to need to accumulate 5,000 energy, which is going to be a little bit of a problem considering a lot of my resources are in a bit of a deficit at the moment. Let's rebalance our economy here. I think my main focus of research will now be towards improving my ships. It would be really, really good if I could get stronger ships to fight my enemies, because I do want to go ahead and fight people. And I also need to save up the cash. Ooh, we could create thrall worlds. This will disable the construction of city districts, and most buildings on the planet will allow the construction of slave huts. Free pops can no longer grow on this planet. Thrall worlds modifier added, adding a 50% growth speed. We could make some thrall worlds to fuel our empire. We'll have to think about that, but we should at least research the technology. We also just unlocked the ability to produce habitats, so we can build more battles, habitat stations, which are really, really powerful. I would like to unlock destroyers. This will increase my fleet command limit, hopefully improving my fleet power. I do currently have 3 fleets under my control, which is about 60 power, so we're not doing too bad. When I say 60 power, what I mean is like 60 ships. The actual power is about 1,000 per fleet. So it costs me 150 influence and 1,500 alloys and about 7 years to build a habitat. I don't think I'm in a particular rush to actually get that, to start building habitats. What I really want to do is go to war. We're going to go ahead and finish the unyielding tree by getting Bulwark of Harmony. This will give us a ship build speed and fire rate increase in defensive wars, which will be really, really nice. And more importantly, it also increases our defense platform cap and reduces our starbase upkeep. But most importantly, we can pick a new ascension perk. And once you get to level 3, you get to pick some very interesting perks. For example, we could become the Crisis, the end game threat that ends the world. We could become hydrocentric, which will make it cheaper to terraform ocean planets, which will allow us to build ice mining stations, which allow us to expand our planets. If I go here to Tufson and we take a look here, are there any ice planets around here? I don't think so. The whole improving the quality of our planets is kind of a fun idea. That's kind of the theme I was going for. However, there are a lot of really good choices here. We could go for Voidborn to increase our habitability on habitats and also increase the size of our habitats. We can essentially make artificial planets that are more reasonable in size. Another really good one is monthly unity boost. The really, really good one here though is galactic force projection. This will give us 80 naval capacity and 20 fleet command limit, essentially doubling the potential size of our fleet, which would very, very significantly increase our ability to project power. So I'm going to go ahead and take that, and now we've doubled the size of our fleets and also doubled the potential size of each of our individual fleets. So let's go ahead and modify our fleets. We're going to go up to 30 corvettes per fleet because we're about to unlock destroyers, and we want to add destroyers to our fleets. Now there's going to be a massive amount of alloys required for this, which is going to require just a lot of resources to improve our planets and actually start getting those. The big problem we have right now is we just don't have enough population to man all the jobs that we need, and that just comes from a lack of planets. But hopefully by expanding into here, there are a bunch of new planets we could acquire, and so we just need to get to this station right here and hold it. Now let's have a look at the political situation. They do not have a lot of friends. Let's go ahead and declare a rivalry with them. So now we're officially rivals. We could attempt to subjugate these guys, but they won't accept it because we don't have enough influence and they don't feel weak enough. We could also declare war. It would just be a 1v1 war, which I think we could win with our fleets when we build them up a little bit more. The fact that I have to continue to have martial law on this slave planet is actually really hurting me. I needed to not be as upset. I may turn this into a thrall world and just pull off all of my normal population. We'll have to have a think about that. Having a thrall world could be really handy though, as it would basically just produce a ton of base resources, which would allow me to specialize my other planets. I think though thrall worlds are slightly inefficient, so I might not do it. We found a devouring swarm. So this is the Vivisanda Raveners, and they're all the way over here. So this is going to be probably our second major threat this game, is having to fight essentially people that want to consume the galaxy. So our corvettes are designed to shred enemy armor, which means I should probably design my destroyers to be good at shredding enemy shields. We're going to make a gunship destroyer with a pair of mass drivers in the medium slot, giving it really, really good initial range, and then another pair of mass drivers to make it really, really good in close combat. We're also going to give it afterburners. The afterburners will give it a 10% sublight speed, but also a 5% evasion increase. So this will be our gunship, and now we're going to go ahead and swap our corvettes over to be totally laser based. So my corvettes are for shredding armor, and my destroyers are for shredding shields. You specialize your ships. They're both well defended against both types of attacks. but our shields are higher tech level. I don't know what kind of design they're using for their ships, so I'm kind of designing my ships to be well-rounded and able to fight anything, and I'm hoping to beat them with overwhelming firepower. Right now I'm just starved for resources. I just don't have enough of everything that I need. And part of the problem is just the sheer amount of minerals I have in the bank. I think I'm going to sell some minerals, boosh, and then use that to buy a little bit more alloys, that extra cash. So I've just bought a huge chunk of alloys now, and I should be able to expand one of these fleets to near maximum capacity and then also upgrade it. So I think in the interest of making this more interesting, I'm going to create a thrall world here, which means I need to basically destroy all of these buildings and all of these city districts. So let's do that now. We've destroyed all of the city districts and all of the buildings, and then I should... Do I have to destroy everything? This could be really bad. Do I have to literally destroy the entire planet? This could be really bad if this decision still doesn't trigger. But the planet stability is going basically to 0, and I have completely demolished the world, and now I can create a thrall world. Boom. So we can no longer build industrial districts, and we can no longer build city districts, and this is now a thrall world with a 50% population growth. Each of these guys now are working as toilers, giving us just a little bit of amenities, but these are essentially free slaves that we can move around our empire. And so this will just essentially be a world that seeks to generate a ton of base resources that we can use to fuel our other worlds. And we can also build things like slave huts. This will just be a really good place to create resources and population to work as slaves in our empire. So let's see. So there's a very limited number of things that I can build in here. I think our number one goal will be to try to get the energy production back online, because that was the main goal of this planet. So we'll slowly work on building generator districts. So yeah, now because I have completely reset this world and lowered stability, there is a bit of radicalization and a little bit of revolting happening. They're adding devastation. But hopefully as we rebuild this planet, people will get less upset. God, my empire is just so hungry for resources right here. I need to get my stuff stabilized. Creating a thrall world has created a bit of a problem for me, but I'm hoping that the payoff in resource yields and pop growth will be worth it. God damn, these guys popped up out of nowhere and now they're like super strong. That's really, really scary. Yeesh. Start building more starports. We need to have fortresses on our front lines. Somebody paid the Ziran freeholders to come raid us. Hopefully they have to blow up other people before they get to us. I don't even know if that's a thing. The generator districts are coming back online in Eramis 2. Still need quite a bit of housing to get the stability back online. Okay, so we've pacified the slaves on Eramis 2, which means I can finally take off martial law. While that will lower stability slightly, that should massively increase the amount of energy credits we're making per month. Yeah, now we're finally stable on energy credits. Okay, our economy is coming back to where it should be. Here's the key technology for our long-term plans is gene tailoring, so we can modify our species. We'll be able to specialize our populations on different worlds. And we can now go for our next tradition. I think we're going to be going for supremacy so that we can increase our naval capacity and army damage. This will be an important part of us going to war now. This has a lot of really nice bonuses in it. For example, 20 naval capacity is having a larger army. We have ship build cost reductions and build speed increases. We have ship upkeep reductions and naval capacity increases. We have fleet command limit increases, ship fire rates, and then damage against star bases. And finally, it will also give us access to special war doctrine policies, which can give us various bonuses towards fighting and stuff like that. So our power level is equivalent with the Kurthakan Confederation, and I think now might be a good time to strike. We're getting close to where we want to actually hit them. The problem is I still need to deal with the slaves on this planet. We just have so many toilers that are still unemployed. We need to get like the generator districts, the energy grids. I need this planet churning out resources for me to fuel my actual war effort, which it just isn't right now. One thing I am going to do is I'm going to lower from generous funding to just regular funding. This will get me an extra 10% energy credits and 5% alloys. It will lower my unity slightly, but I think I need that energy and I need those alloys to start actually going to war and doing things. It will slow how quickly I complete the quest for the Toxic God, but I'm willing to accept a slight slowdown in exchange for being able to expand my empire more rapidly through warfare. So here's another primitive civilization. These guys are in the atomic age, which means they could blow themselves up in a nuclear war pretty soon. So I think I need to get these guys invaded ASAP in order to prevent themselves from accidentally blowing themselves up, taking a very paternalistic approach to the primitive species in the galaxy. Right, we have our next quest for the Toxic God. We're on to phase 5 of the mission, The Tale of Knight Pitiless a la carte, the Challenger. One day, a stranger arrived at the keep. As a tournament of squires was being held, most of the Order's knights were present. Clad in a Neutronian armour, the stranger strode into combat grounds. The joyful chatter of the crowd died down as the newcomer drew his weapons. The challenge was clear, and with the blessing of the Lord Commander Neon Lunkhead, Knight Ephemeral Bandwagon answered the call. Within moments the fight was over and Ephemeral lay bested on the ground. Knight Aimless Legatus met a similar fate, as did his sibling Knight Maddening. With the 3 knights downed, Lord Commander summoned the Order's champion, Knight Pitiless a la carte. The chronicle are full of mighty warriors, peerless knights who have never known defeat, and Pitiless was well on his way to join the ranks of these legends. The champions entered the arena, weapons at the ready, and saluted his opponent. Many a ballad would be written about the duel between Pitiless a la carte and the Sable Knight. For hours they fought, and Challenger was unable to trump Pitiless' guard, the knight unable to pierce the advanced armour of his adversary. Thou art of passing skill. The stranger's voice echoed in the arena. I see thy reputation is no boast. He laid down his weapons. I yield to thee, champion. Wouldst thou allow me to return whence I came? The Order's code was strict, and that question had but one answer. So the Sable Knight, named after the colour of his Neutrinian armour, departed aboard a small ship of alien design and flew into an unstable wormhole at the periphery of the system. Lord Commander Neon Lunkhead expressly forbade anyone from following and sent Pitiless to monitor the unstable wormhole until a science team could be dispatched. Not long after, the champion was confronted at his post by the Knight's Ephemeral Bandwagon, Aimless Legatus, and Maddening Peril. They asked to be let through so they could face the Sable Knight again. Give us a chance to restore our honour. Thou hast never known the bitterness of defeat. Its foul taste is best washed out in blood. I think duty is all. Thou shalt not pass will be my answer to this event, and the tale of a knight pitiless a la carte, duty before honour. The Lord Commander's orders are clear. Thou shalt not pass. There was a long pause before the reply came. We're going through. Thou shalt not deny us. Prepare to be boarded. Spurred by anger and blinded by honour, the knights set upon their fellow. 3 against 1, they pressed Pitiless a la carte from all sides, with such reckless abandon that he was progressively backed into the corner of a ship. The fight was unfair, for Pitiless was careful not to harm others, but in the end, with his life on the line, the Order's champion had no choice but to fight back with all of his might. The day ended in anguish and grief, for Aimless Legatus had been slain in battle. His sibling was wounded and overcame with sorrow. Pitiless was victorious and had carried out his orders, but he had killed a fellow knight in the process. He made great sacrifices to service. So knights will now produce stability, and we also have the ability to create Herald Knights in the Knightly Duties policy. So if we go check the Knightly Duties policy, currently we have Questing Knights, which is giving us survey speed and anomaly discovery chance. I think we're now beyond the point where we're going to be surveying the world. So Herald Knights actually seems like it could be reasonable. What about Knight Commanders? Ship fire rate, 10% ship fire rate is quite powerful. I think I'm going to go for the ship fire rate. We are going to be, well, here's the thing. The problem is we want the quest to benefit from the existence of our knights. So I'm going to put this onto Courtly Knights. +1 envoy is quite nice. We won't be able to change this for about 10 years, but I do want my quest to continue to benefit from having knights. I want my quest to get done quite quickly. Right, time for us to terraform the planet of Gothia into a ocean world. Looks like habitability has gone down. Perhaps the galactic community has passed some sort of resolution. Yeah, they passed regulatory facilitation, which lowers habitability but increases worker pop output. That's fine. Where am I on this? Yeah, I'm a relatively weak faction. I need to go ahead and attack the Krithikan Confederation. It needs to happen now. I cannot delay any longer. They are starting to build planets and stuff like that. But before I do that, let's get our invasion fleets. Let's combine them together and quickly land armies on this new planet. I don't know if I'm going to turn this into a thrall world as well. It has a relatively large population. We will take a little bit of damage from these guys because they have relatively advanced armies, but we should completely obliterate them. These guys are also going to have stellar culture shock, which is going to require me to do a little bit of stuff. For example, I'm going to negotiate with the crime lords. This will increase the crime rate, but increase stability also. I'm going to declare martial law. Let's let that tick slightly. We have a massive amount of crime. We have a massive amount of amenities negative, and we have huge amounts of what seems to be unemployed people here. I need to resettle some of the population from my capital here. So I'm going to grab some blurgling miners, and they will be settling on this planet as the ruling class, acting as enforcers and high priests. Let's take a look at this mining world now. What is the status? Right, we have all these jobs filled. We have the enforcers filled. We have the soldiers filled. Now, these look like they're maybe Necroid type pops. That's fine. We'll keep them for now. Stability has gone up. So one way to get stability up is to build holo theaters to improve the amenity production on this planet. And lovely. We have now have gene tailoring, which should allow us to create new types of our species. Let's increase our food output by getting gene crops. So what we could do now is, for example, say we wanted to take the Tial and we wanted to create a template here. Let's say, for example, we wanted these guys to, I don't know, be noxious, right? We wanted them to be a noxious population. We could go ahead and modify them and add traits to them. Or we could make them cheaper to maintain. We could make them produce more energy. There's a lot of things that we can do to modify our population. We can even take away their negative traits as well. I'm going to worry about gene tailoring after the war, and we'll sort of custom build different species that will live on different planets. So we'll have like a species that lives here that's going to be incredibly good at producing energy and minerals. So this definitely feels like a mining world. Do I want to make it a thrall world? Let's position our fleets on the border so that we can get ready to declare war. And we're hoping for this to be a very quick lightning war. We want to basically get control of these 3 systems and then just hold there and wait until they surrender. Right, let's declare the war. Our goal is to conquer. We will declare. And we will send our 3 fleets in to control. We want to kill this space station, and then this one. But that'll be, we have to kind of like queue up our orders in a very careful way. The slaves are rallying on Avexus 3, so I'm going to have to build some strongholds here, which isn't the worst thing because it does give me naval capacity and it provides me with a planet that's kind of in the way of anyone trying to invade me down here. Put the slaves in the way of the incoming warriors. So now we just need to get control of this starbase right here and then hold this for the rest of the war, and then I think as long as we hold these 3 systems, they will be unable to win this war. Their war exhaustion is going up faster than mine. And these are the 3 systems I want because they actually have planets on them. It's a small scale war, but my hope is that it will lead to a bigger scale win later down the line. One thing I'm lacking is enough planets to effectively use all of these resources that are coming in. So I think I'm going to go ahead and build a habitat around Rascal's Delight. And this will be a research station for me where I will primarily produce research to fuel my empire. Actually, do you know what? I've changed my mind. I've changed my mind about that. That seemed like a cool idea for a second there, but instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little consecrated priest habitat, like a monastery. I think that's going to be a little bit more fun. That's kind of like a little bit more thematic. A monastery for the toxic god. Let's recruit a general for the land war that we're about to engage in. There we go, there's the general. And we're going to invade the planet of Vural-Zar that's in Breek here, and this will allow us to actually speed up the rate at which this war will end. Our forces are engaged. They did not have many defensive armies, so this should be a fairly easy occupation. The planet won't be damaged. And this planet is now occupied, pushing us closer to a victory. They are actually willing to settle the status quo. However, I also want to be in control of Hark over here, and there are 3 planets there that require invasion. This one here is a little bit better defended because they actually built a stronghold, so I'm going to get my fleets to bombard it. This one is relatively undefended, and this one is completely undefended. So these other ones should be fairly easy for me to take over. This planet here, Vural-Watri, this has a lot of defensive armies. That's going to be a tough one to break. But we're going to have our work cut out for us to stabilize these new planet acquisitions. One nice thing is, though, that I'm unlocking ecological adaptation, which will allow me to terraform inhabited planets, so I'll be able to fix the habitability of these worlds. There's ecological adaptation, like I was just talking about. I don't know if I want to create penal colonies. They're quite nice because they reduce crime across your empire. But you can see my forces are in orbit bombarding these armies, and the planet is slowly accumulating devastation, which obviously is not ideal, but that's what we have to do. Also, the thing I like is when you actually send your armies to invade, they do actually drop little drop pods. I'll show you that, guys, in a second. So here come my ships. They will get into orbit, and then you can see the little drop pods going to land on the planet. And we have indeed occupied this one. Now we just need to go and occupy the final planet, which will allow us to end this war in a status quo. Now they're a little bit upset because they were willing to end the war because they were keeping these 3 planets, but now they don't want to lose these 3 planets, so they're less likely to go for peace. However, the fact that I have a war exhaustion reduction means I'm going to reach my point of breaking slower than them, and getting 3 planets here will be a massive boon. How many defense armies do I have? They have a garrison strength of 300. Yeah, their garrison is still too strong here, so I'm going to bombard it for another little while. Okay, so we have a little bit of a problem. We have a planetary revolt on Iraemus 2. This is the thrall world that we are under control of. I wonder why stability is so low. I mean, it is a slave world, so the people are just really, really unhappy. There's low amenities and they're indentured servants. That honestly seems to be all of the problems that they're having. So let's see, what do we need to do in order to fix this? So we have a couple of options on how we deal with this. In 25 months, they'll advance to the next stage. I can distribute amenities to increase the amenity here. It'll cost me a lot of consumer goods. That might be the peaceful way. Or I can do institution of a crackdown, which will increase stability from army jobs and increase the upkeep. I think my empire would probably do a crackdown. Let me see. The big problem we have is the low amenities. Let's have a look and see if distributing amenities will solve the problem. Yeah, it looks like distributing amenities has brought this problem under control. So the main problem here is I need to get more amenities on this planet. And I think the way that I do that is by deworking some of these, because these toilers here, these are the guys that actually produce the amenities. Now, if we wanted to, we could actually push harder in this war and think about maybe trying to take an extra 2 systems. If we were to, you know, claim another couple of planets, it would cost us 250 influence, but we would get those 2 extra planets. We could actually claim all the way to Lessim, which would basically split their empire in half, and I think I could maybe control that. Let's take these 2 smaller situations first. And the very first thing I want to do is make sure I actually get to invade this planet. Yeah, the defense armies are still holding strong. We need to bombard more aggressively. It'll take a little while. Right, I think these armies now have been bombed to hell, and we can go ahead and land here. There's only a few left, so let's go ahead and land our armies and see how they do. The armies have landed. Let's take a look. We have currently got 7 units engaging 3. We should take some damage, but I think our armies should be able to completely obliterate this without a major loss. Yep, we're routing them. One of our armies did rout, but they're still alive. We didn't actually lose them. And we've taken over this planet, which means now if we were to settle a status quo, we would own these planets. I think, though, we want to be even more aggressive. We want to press the advantage. When your enemy is weak, that is when you strike, and my enemy is weak, and I would like to get all the way to Lessim. Honestly, if I was able to get all the way to Lessim and control that, that would be a huge feather in my cap for this phase of the game. The Hustlemore habitat is complete. We're going to go ahead and colonize it with our founder species. Now, our habitability here is quite low on the orbital habitat, but that's not a big deal. This will be Hustlemore Monastery, because the planet is called Hustlemore, and we will be designing it specifically as a place for religious jobs. The enemy fleet power in this system is actually really high, but they're not looking to come fight me, are they? Oh, they are now looking to come fight me. Let's have a look. It's saying that our fleet power is equivalent, but I think it's too late for me to come and snipe this system. So I may look to just piece them out now, settle the status quo, yoink these 5 systems, and take that as my win. So let's see if they'll accept my status quo proposal. I've sent the proposal. They are accepting it. And we have now taken a huge bite out of Kirthrakan Confederation, weakening them significantly. Most importantly, we took away a lot of their planets. Now, these are all tomb worlds, which is not ideal. And we're going to have to deal with how we manage all these planets, ideally in the next episode. But we've made good progress. We've built up our economy. We've started to build a thrall world. And the thrall world is getting to a point where it's starting to produce a lot of surplus resources. And then these surplus resources can be processed in one of my more advanced planets. And I'll be able to start to specialize my worlds a little bit more as I acquire more. These tomb worlds are going to be a problem, though, because it's very expensive to terraform them, and I need an advanced technology called climate restoration, but I want them all to be ocean worlds. So yeah, we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do with these newly conquered planets. Perhaps we could spin out a vassal or something like that. We could make a vassal in this quadrant. But that's going to be it for this episode. I'll talk a little bit more about my plans next episode, and I'll see you guys next time. I love you all, and bye-bye.